So last week, if you recall, I asked you what your dream was for yourself. You know, I asked you, what do you want to bring into your life? And then we looked at maybe what might be blocking that and how to create the opening need to be felt in your life. And if you weren't here last week, no problem. You can catch that talk on the website or on our Facebook page. It involves a goat. It's a whole thing. I thought I would build on that idea this morning and bring it from the micro or the personal to the macro or the world. Does that sound good? All right. So this morning, I want to ask you, what is your dream for our world, my friends? What do you want for your children, for your grandchildren, the kiddos over in our youth program who are so well cared for? Think of the sweet babies in the grocery store in the cart. You know, you hear them munching on their parent for hot chocolate or whatever they want to have in the cart. What do you want for them? What do you want for the refugee families who have arrived in this country after a long, arduous journey seeking safe harbor? What would you like for them? What would you like for our world, for our earth, for Mother Earth? What would you like to see and feel for her? What would you like our government and our global relationships to look like and to feel like? We have an opportunity to call upon the wisdom of the ages, the sages, and the saints to lean into this even more. So Buddhism teaches that healing the self and healing society are one and the same. As we look at the violence within our society, we must also simultaneously look and tame the violence within ourselves. Those places within us that are critical of ourselves and others. We are unloving to ourselves and others. So for a moment, I invite you to just bring into your awareness, just think about someone you adore. Just right now, think about someone you adore. You got it? Are they safe in your mind? I can see it. I see all your smiles. You all lit up. Now, bring into your awareness, think about somebody. Maybe it's somebody you know, family, coworker. Maybe it's someone in the public eye. Whatever. Think about that person. Now, how do you feel in your body tempo? Yeah. Are they safe in your mind? No. I see a lot of furrowed brows. I'm guessing maybe not. Maybe there's a question mark with this one. Here is the key point. You can 100% completely disagree with someone. You can feel hurt by their choices. You can feel angry by their unskilled behavior. You can speak truth to power, and I hope you do. And you can make the decision to take a stand and work for justice if that is something that calls to you. But when we slip into the energy of unconsciously starting to hate the other or to wish them ill will, and I think a lot of it is unconscious. I don't think it's necessarily a conscious thing. But when we engage in that lack of mindfulness within the difficulty that we are faced today, we have begun to unconsciously participate in creating more violence in the world. And that is when the promise of peace is halted. And as this year begins to wind down, and we have so many wonderful things to look forward to, I can't wait for the harvest dinner. I hope you all come on Friday. It's going to be so wonderful. But as this year begins to wind down, we are going to be looking at an election year ahead of us. And so it behooves us in this spiritual community, and I will say this, I have said this before, I will say this again, I don't care. I don't care who you vote for. This isn't about that. This is about spiritual principle. Hear me when I say that. That's the beauty of this country. That's the grace of living here. But here is the thing. It behooves all of us to remember that the very same love and light and God and goodness that is within each one of us is at the center of each of you and me, Charlie, you and me, Rev. Christine, you and me, Cynthia, you and me. That same God that's at the center of us is at the center of the person we may vehemently disagree with regarding their particular political leanings. Are you with me? Take a deep breath. So let's prepare now. Let's prepare now to be the change we wish to see in a way that is compassionate, that is kind, and that is effective. In his 1989 acceptance speech for the Nobel Peace Prize, the Dalai Lama said, "I speak not with a feeling of anger or hatred towards those who are responsible for the immense suffering of our people and the destruction of our land, homes, and culture. They too are human beings who struggle to find happiness and deserve our compassion." Case in point for why he's the Dalai Lama. But wow, what a message for all of us, you know? Personal peace and world peace are linked by the thoughts and actions of every human being. I'm going to say that again. Personal peace and world peace are linked by the thoughts and actions of every human being. Every single day, each one of us contributes to either a more violent world or a more peaceful one. How we treat ourselves, those around us, and those with whom we disagree. Dang that part. But that's the peace. That's the divine opportunity for each of us. So the next time you may feel the waters raging just behind a comment or a comeback that you might want to post or say, I invite you to take a deep breath, because this is what I do, and it helps me. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, does this bring more peace to the world, or does it bring more violence? Does this thing that I'm about to say, does it bring more peace, or does it bring more violence? And then take another deep breath and listen to your heart. This question wakes us up out of the illusion of us and them. This instantly calls in compassion. So maybe you can rephrase your comment, or maybe that's when you just close the laptop and you walk away. I have done that many a time. Because the fact of the matter is, what we do and say or not do and say is creating our world right now, and it is up to each one of us. Each one of us, beloved. And some really great news. We are so incredibly blessed by the younger generation that is coming up. Have you all noticed? Those kids, oh my word, oh my word. They understand that to ensure our survival, we must work together. You know, I happened to see something just the day before yesterday, and I posted it on Facebook. For those of you who we may be friends on Facebook, you might have seen it. But it reminded me to look to the children, to always look to the children, because in truth, they are our master teachers. They always have been. They always will be. I know mine are. And so I want to show you a picture that I saw. And it's a picture of just a group of these sweet boys at Halloween. And this actually is older and it's been making the rounds, but I find it very interesting that it showed up recently. And one of their moms posted on social media, and this was the caption she wrote: "The boy without the jacket on, in the white shirt, isn't allowed to wear a costume because of his particular religion. So, the rest of the boys brainstormed to come up with an idea that would work for them without having to exclude anyone. Ladies and gentlemen," she writes, "you are looking at the next President of the United States and his Secret Service detail." The children will lead, I tell you. The children will lead. So, think about your own life. Where can you empower someone and choose to be their Secret Service detail? Huh? Maybe a family member, a coworker, a neighbor. I invite you to consider ways that you can empower someone else by taking a step back and letting them shine. Consider ways, wherever that is in your life, where you can empower someone else by taking a step back and letting them shine. So, speaking of that, I want to tell you a story. And this is a story about a gal who I've known for a long time. She used to live here, and she now lives in another beautiful part of the country. And she shared with me, and I have permission to share this with you. She shared with me many years ago. She was 55. She was a very heavy smoker. She was lost. She felt as though she had no purpose in her life. She was really flailing, and she was really searching for something, a lifeline, really. And she stumbled across a flyer that said, "Reach the summit." And apparently there's a program here in Portland where you can train for 6 months and you can hike up a summit on Mount Hood. Does anybody know about this? Extraordinary. I just was gobsmacked at this idea. Because here's the thing. So they train for 6 months from January to June. And what happens is they start at midnight. And that's when avalanche. So it's a whole thing. It's a whole team of people and experts, and it's an amazing program. They train for 6 months. You start at midnight, and you hike for 6 hours until sunrise. So you make it to the summit, and you get to see the sunrise from the summit of Mount Hood. Isn't that amazing? Oh, golly. Okay, so back to my friend. So she reads this on the flyer, and something inspires her. And she thinks, I am going to go for it. I don't know how in the world I'm going to get up that mountain, but I'm going to try. So she goes to the little coffee shop where they have the informational meeting, and she's the first one there. And so she's looking at it, and she writes her check. And she gives her check to the person who was collecting the money, and she sat down, and she's just waiting for the people to show up. And in her words, all of them were at least 2 decades younger than her. And they bounced in, and this was not their first rodeo. It was not their first mountain. It was hers. And she said if she had not written the check, she would have ducked out of there so fast. But they had her money. So she stayed. And she decided to commit to this. And every day she worked. And she trained. And she cried. And she was in pain. But she did it anyway. And she kept going until the big day finally came. The big night. Midnight. And she's carrying a ton of gear. It really weighs a lot. How many mountain climbers in here do we have? So it's a lot of gear that you carry, right? And so she and the group were going up the mountain. And the rule of this kind of thing, of mountain climbing, is the group never goes faster than the slowest climber. And so they were going pretty slow because this was her first climb. And so after a while, she was feeling really anxious that she was going to keep everyone and they were going to miss the sunrise, all that they had trained for 6 months. And so she expressed her concern, and she was woman right ahead of her reached back and said, "Let me take some of your gear. Let me lighten your load." And then the climber in front of her reached back and said, "I can take some of that too. Let me have some of that." And then the climber in front of that climber said, "Let me take the last bit of it. You just focus on climbing." And because of them, she made it up the summit. And she saw the sunrise. And she was changed. She was completely changed. She realized that there was this divine power within her, and that she could conquer whatever it was, whatever that mountain was that was within her. Shortly after that, she began taking yoga classes and fell in love with yoga. She became a yoga instructor. She found new thought. She became an instructor of Rosen, and she is now a practitioner. And she no longer smokes. She gave that up. So the thing is that it was the compassion of the climber just in front of her, and the climber in front of her, and the climber in front of them, that created this ripple effect of compassion throughout this group. And so the entire group was able to make it to the top of the mountain, to the top of that summit. And she was able to experience her shift, and she was able to live a life she never imagined was possible for her. Think for a moment, my friends, of the blessings that have occurred in your own life as a result of the compassion of someone else. Think of that for a moment. We are all called right now into a greater expression, this kind of compassion and love on the planet right now. This is what we are being called to and into. If we look at modern American history, people of faith throughout it have been at the forefront, standing for peace and dignity for all people. Along with prayer, they moved their feet compassionately up those mountains for others. They reached back and they helped. The Unitarians and Quakers were known abolitionists. The Quakers were huge supporters of the suffragettes and worked in a dedicated way for so long for the women's right to vote. During the Great Depression, the Catholic worker movement was formed, and it helped the poorest of the poor in this country. During the Civil Rights Movement, countless Christian, Catholic, and Jewish groups marched in solidarity up that mountain. During Vietnam, engaged Buddhism led by Thich Nhat Hanh was a major voice for peace in an effort to end that war. The Protestants and Presbyterians were a great support for Cesar Chavez and the farm workers' rights. So what are we going to do in New Thought? What is our contribution going to be? One of my favorite quotes in the whole world is Rabbi Joshua Heschel said, "When I marched in Selma, my feet were praying." That is our call now. That is our call now. We are all in this together, no matter what faith path, no matter what political affiliation, no matter what culture. We are all in this together. And so when you see something in the world that feels like a call for love, I invite you to answer that phone. Pick it up, my friends. When you see something in the world that feels like a call to love, answer the phone. And then listen, 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 listen. Would you hear something happening out there on the news or in social media and it tugs at your heart? That is God, Spirit, energy, love, source tugging at your heart. That's what that is. And I invite you to pay attention to those tugs because they are the divine itself communicating with us, guiding us, letting us know that we have an opportunity to help someone up their mountain. That's what that tug is. I want to let you all know, on a personal note, that I have just now completed 4 months as your senior minister. 4 months. That's it. I'm now moving into 5 months. And I'm so excited to share with you that our wonderful ministry team, oh, God bless them and the bridge that brought them over, and our incredible board of trustees. We have an amazing board of trustees. We have all been working on exciting ideas and programs. And now that the dust has settled a little bit, I want to let you know that our next community meeting is going to be on Sunday, December 15th, downstairs after service. And I'm so delighted to share with you all the programs that we're going to be rolling out in 2020. Because they're very, very exciting. And because the whole idea is to have a spiritual center, a church that is taking our principles of oneness and inclusivity and human dignity for all people out into the world. That's our next call. It's going to go out into the world. All this love is going to go out into the world. And so, for you, a blessing. It's a Franciscan. She writes, "May God bless you with discomfort at easy answers, half-truths and superficial relationships, so that you may live deep within your heart. May God bless you with anger at injustice, oppression, and exploitation of people, so that you may work for justice, freedom, and peace. May God bless you with tears to shed for those who suffer pain, rejection, hunger, and war, so that you may reach out your hand to comfort them and turn their pain into joy. And may God bless you with enough foolishness to believe that you can make a difference in this world, so that you can do what others claim cannot be done, to bring justice and kindness to all of our children and to the poor." So, my friends, let's journey to the mountaintop where we can collectively watch the sunrise of equality and equity and human dignity for all people, and care and love and peace in our lifetime. Thank you. I love you.